Hello party people, it's me Jibron here back again with another video. If this is your first time tuning in, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and welcome back to Jibron Unhinged. Let's get into the real reason why you're here with all the drama and the mess that's been going on. Nicki Minaj, hey girl, I know you're tired. Everybody's talking about you, and it's not because of your music, it's because you're chaotic. Nicki, you need to do what I did a long time ago. You need to invest in a therapist and Lexapro. It changes lives. It changes your mind. And it doesn't give you time to sit around and argue with people like Don Lemon who are educated and can read you for filth. All right, y'all. So if you don't know what happened, I'll tell you what happened. So Don Lemon, who is now an independent journalist, who I absolutely love and adore because Don Lemon gives me life. I used to love seeing him eat them people up. I forgot what state. I think you're on CNN. But I used to love seeing you eat them people up because, you know, on CNN you can't really get all nasty and ratchet. So here's what happened. So Don Lemon was pretty much reporting, I think they were protesting somewhere because there was an ICE agent who's a pastor of a church and the people were raiding the church and they were protesting against him or whatever. Cool. Okay, everybody has the right to do what they feel like. If they feel like there's an injustice, I feel like you should really stand in what you believe in and, you know, go and support after what is really on your heart. Here's what I don't understand. Nicki, you are all the way in Hidden Hills, California behind a gate. A house you might lose, I might add, but we'll get to that in a minute. You are all the way behind a gate. Why are you worried about what Don Lemon is doing? Because he's not checking for you. Okay, so Nicki decides that she's going to get on Twitter and she's going to say this. Nicki Minaj decided to call Don Lemon a f***ing person who she also called disgusting. And she said, how dare you? I want this thug in jail. Baby, do we really want to talk about thugs? Aren't like some of your brothers or something, like haven't they been arrested? And isn't your husband a registered sex offender, which is why I can find your address at any given time and any given day of the week? I feel like a person like you should pretty much, when it comes to people being thugs or doing illegal activity, I think we should be quiet because I understand love is love and you can't help who you love, but at the same token, I would never want a criminal who sexually assaulted someone next to me every night. That's just me. What's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. Now, me in my house, we're not going to be doing that. But nonetheless, I guess you have to do what you have to do. So Don decided to come back and attack you, which I feel like he had every right to do. And he pretty much alluded to the fact that you have no idea what's going on. You don't know what you're talking about because A, you're not a real journalist. And B, you sit at home all day because you haven't had any new music come out and you don't understand what's really going on. You sat up there with that Kirk man's ex-wife, the widow of the Kirk man, and I think now you think you're going to be involved in politics, but sweetie, it takes way more than just one sit down at a turning point event for you to become the expertise on everything that's going on in our country. And then Don also said that under Trump's rule, you need to be deported. Nicki, who knew you were illegal? Granted, I don't care. I feel like if you pay your taxes, I'm going to mind my business and shut my mouth because that ain't got nothing to do with me. But Nicki, girl, and while you sitting around worried about what Don is doing, you need to worry about whether you're going to have to pack up your whole entire house because word on the curb is you might be having to get out of your house because you owe some security guard $500,000. Now, why can't you just cough up this $500,000? You live in a $12.5 million house. I'm pretty sure you have the extra money to pay this man, but you don't want to pay him, so you might be outdoors. Papa Bear does not need to be outside in this kind of weather, okay? It is cold, okay? You do not need to sit around and have your child potentially face homelessness because you don't want to pay somebody after a judge ruled that you were wrong. But anyway, but what I did hear about that I was actually intrigued with, Nene Leakes returning back to Bravo. Now get this. When have you ever known in history that you could go, leave a job, leave, get fired, whatever you want to call it, after you call your boss a racist and then get back welcome at the network? So if you don't know what happened, Nene left Housewives on season 12 after a tumultuous reunion. I think they were having problems with negotiating her contract. She felt like she was being pushed out, this, that, and the third. I remember like it was yesterday, she got up there on Tamara Hall and she was crying boohoo tears. Okay, now Nene has, in the last couple of years, she's been working with Universal, not Bravo, but she's been working with the bigger conglomerate and she's been doing the red carpet. whatever. And now she's back on Bravo in a small limited role on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. Now, pretty much all she's going to do is pretty much be like the Atlanta segment of the trip because the girls are pretty much going all over the country, I guess, to each different city that they have a show in or whatever. And she's going to have like a small but very intricate role. I think that the reason why they're even bringing her back is the relevance that Nene has been having because the amount of memes that this woman has is ironic. Like, I've been watching Housewives since its inception. Granted, did I know what the heck the show was? No. Was I supposed to be watching Kim sleeping with some married man? No, at the age of 10 or 4. But nonetheless, that happened. Nene is Housewives. When you think of Housewives, you think of her. She went on live and she pretty much was expressing her gratitude and thanking everyone involved. Her and Andy are pretty much cool. And I think that it's a step in the right direction. I think the reason why she didn't get the big role like most people probably would have wanted her in Girls Trip is because you have to do baby steps. I mean, this chick did take these people to court, accuse people of being a racist and this, that, and the third. Granted, I know they had to bring a nice cute bag because we all know Nene does not work for free. But I'm just happy that people are gainfully employed and that she's back where she belongs, which is on Bravo, in our homes and in our hearts. The last thing I want to talk about is something that's actually happening here locally. So if you don't know, 50 Cent is pretty much going to have his G-Unit studios here downtown in Shreveport. All right, so why am I talking about this? Because it's actually a good thing for our economy. Fun fact, people. So if you are in TV, film, or radio, like yours truly, there's job opportunities. He is supposedly going to bring 6,000 jobs statewide, and he is expected to bring over a couple of, like, I think it was like a couple of $1 billion in the next 20 years in revenue, which is like a really, really big deal. Because I remember years ago when Crowd Reese got on his phone and was like, ain't nobody gonna fire jobs in Shreveport. So I guess, 50 Cent must have heard it and said, you know what, Crowd Reese, you can go ahead and cry and get mad about everybody leaving you and you're mad that The Rock pretty much got the career you always wanted. And I'm gonna pretty much make something out of it. I feel like this would be like a very good opportunity, whether you're starting off in your career, whether you just want to dabble in TV or film, because at the end of the day, what I was always told was when I was younger is you never wanted to stay in Shreveport. You always wanted to leave, which is why I've been plotting and planning to leave for a long time. But who knows? I might end up staying here after all because with opportunities these days and with this job market, you never know what might happen. But anyway, y'all, that's all the time that I have for you this week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.